Using a mist of synthetic sweat, the corrosion test exposes strings to elements mimicking a human finger. Over time, excess remains strong, while other strings corrode and become damaged. Testing complete.
Fill everybody in on that guitar, because I recognize a couple changes, more than just the paint, but...
Yeah, well, you know...
what year is this?
62.
62. And this is Snakebite, what you called it back in the day.
Yeah, back then, I mean, you know, it's my guitar. I don't really kind of, you know, name stuff really. Some people call it red and stuff, but because it was red. But for the longest time, when I got it, the previous owner had put a stop tail, and because this had a custom made plaque and had the holes already there to put a stop tail, and so for years I used it with the stop tail, and then a couple of years ago, well, right at the beginning of the pandemic, you know, we were all looking for things to do, right? So I have this old Silvertone that had a Bigsby on it. And I played that guitar for like months on end, and I got really used to it. And so when I pulled this out of the closet, having not played it for a few months, I was like, man, I really wish. So I just pulled the Bigsby out that had come on it originally, and put it on it, and put the original bridge with the nylon saddles back on it. And it's like, I love it even more than before. And people ask me all the time, like, did it change and all this stuff? I don't think so. Like, I mean, I'm pretty familiar with how this feels and sounds, and it's like, with this guitar in particular, it didn't really do anything negative. I love it. And then, of course, I took it to Glazier because it wasn't really staying in tune, and so Nick down at Glazier did all his work to the nut and to the saddles and under the bar here, I guess the things that guys do to make them so they stay in tune. And it's great, you know. And I can't remember last time if Joe had put that in yet.
No.
So
no,
Joe,
that's new.
Yeah, so Joe, this would have been like shortly after that, because this has been this way for a long time, but I wanted it to go out of phase. And so Joe had to like take this pickup apart to make that possible.
Were you reluctant to take a PAF apart?
I wasn't. Joe was. And Joe was like, he was like, I don't mind doing it for you. He's like, but I want to make sure you really want me to do it before we do it. And so, like I said, this is a while ago. This is certainly 2014 or 15 or something. So yeah, he did it, and I love it because I use it all the time. And I love being able to go back and forth. And then we were in Europe one time, one of the many times, and this screw fell out somewhere. So I had the pickguard off for a long time, and people were always asking me like, oh, is that a cosmetic change? I'm like, no, I lost the screw. But Glazier, what's funny is over the years, underneath here, there's like this big hole here. There's like a Willie Nelson trigger hole almost underneath here, because I would rest my pinky there, and I was slowly eating a hole right here. And so Glazier was like, you should really put that pickguard back on. And I was like, I don't have a screw. And he's like, I'll give you a damn screw. And so one of the times where I brought it in to have him fix it for, you know, a myriad of different things he's done to it, I got it back, and he had just put it back on. And I was like, all right, I'll leave it on because
Joe says so.
Indeed. And yeah, and I mean, it's been refretted a couple of times. I think we just did it in the last year, so this is like the third refret, I guess. But I'm pretty diligent in between tours. Like, we just finished a couple days ago, and this has already been in to sort of get leveled, and because I've learned over time that it's like if I do it every few months, it sort of gives it that much longer rather than just waiting for something to go wrong, you know.
Right.
And the other thing is this did in what was it, 2017 I think, or 18? No, it was 2018. We were playing at a venue in Washington D.C. that will remain nameless, and got done with the gig, and thank you, good night. And the boat was up on a road case, and I put it in the boat to walk into the dressing room, and it wasn't latched in because I just literally put it in there, and the sound guy knocked the boat over, and it cracked the headstock on this. And so Glazier repaired the headstock and put like the carbon fiber inlay thing in there. And you know, I got it back and it sounded better. And Joe, apparently, he's like, I stopped telling people that it might sound better because it's like the last thing you want to hear, like when your favorite instrument is in pieces or something, is,
right.
Oh, don't worry, it'll be fine, you know? Like, but honest to goodness, it actually sounded better. And now it's like I don't have to worry about it at all because it's like there's carbon fiber in there. That sucker is not.
Oh, yeah. So did you have a backup guitar with you? Because
Yeah.
for the longest time,
Yeah.
it seems like you were only playing that guitar.
Still to this day, this is really the only thing I play. But yeah, I have a couple of, there's one here that I use sometimes, and then there's a bunch that I have that, during that period, there's a Pelham Blue 355 that I'd gotten from Gibson that I used for a couple months, and which is a great guitar.
No, they were doing a replica of this
Yeah,
guitar.
they did a run a few years ago, like, but it's funny because it was like the aged, and so it was like a moment in time. It was like the aging at that particular moment, you know. So it's like, so which was a huge honor. And
Oh, yeah.
I have a prototype that's in there that I'm keeping for my daughter. So like, when she wants a car one day or something,
Right.
I can be like, well, here. It's like guitar economics, you know.
Right.
It's like, here you go, honey.
Yeah.
Papa will give you a guitar for it.
Hey, I want to hear that magic
iPhone.
switch. Yeah, let's hear.
Yeah, so you know, in sort of the it's got that sort of or like, you know, or was it, you know, it's got that kind of sound, but then with the out of phase, it's
Wow.
So it really changes it quite a bit.
Totally different personality.
Yeah, and it really, and I use both of them a lot, you know, and even for some of the funky, to be out of phase is good as opposed to really it just kind of cuts all the low end out. So yeah, I use it all the time, and it's a great mod.
Yeah.
And yeah, I recommend it to a lot of people. I think it's a really good, you know.
You get so many tones out of, well, whatever guitar. Like, check out his Instagram page. 'Cause you're always doing these great things on different weirdo guitars. You get so many different tones out of just the instrument. It's really inspiring.
Well, thanks, man. I try, and I mean, it's funky guitars, man. You know, they lead you to cool places sometimes, and you know, this is endlessly inspiring, though. I mean, really, it's the only one I ever really want to play.